You're on.
All right. Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. Thanks for tuning in. And we're going to get right to it. So, we've got some leftovers that we don't know what to do with. And actually, our inspiration tonight is some fresh dill. This is dill from our garden. And it smells so good. So, we've got some leftover ham. We've got some leftover grilled zucchini. We've got some shredded sharp cheddar cheese. And we've got a pre-made pie crust, because for the life of me, I cannot make my mother's pie crust to save my life. So we're gonna do some mini quiches. This is like a cook ahead type thing. You can eat them when you make them, or you can make them ahead of time for breakfast the next morning, kind of a savory thing. So basic ingredients of quiche are obviously eggs and heavy cream and cheese. Cheese fixes everything. So what am I going to start with? Now, this is a quiche I've never made. We're making mini. I normally do the big one, a large one, but portion control, right? So what do I start with? David?
You can start with the pie shells.
Okay, so how do we take a regular pie crust? Now, we've got some cooking already, because they do take a little bit of time to cook. So we've got a couple started just so that y'all could see the end product. So, all right, so you've already cut this in half, right?
I cut a piece off to make two.
Cut a piece off to make two. So how am I making two more, or am I making?
You can probably make four out of that, 3 or 4.
So what, cut it in half and then in half again each side, or cut it this way?
I cut it
You tell me.
there.
Here?
Yeah.
And then in half again?
Yeah. The other way.
This way?
Yeah. Because you're going to stretch it a little bit. And it's not going to be perfect in there, but
Just gonna have a small crust. It's not gonna be able to make up the whole thing. So another one of those 800 numbers?
no, it's a 210 number.
Oh. But it wasn't identified?
No.
Oh, okay. All right, so doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't even have to be pretty. Do I need to spray this
it
first?
Yes, with our olive oil spray.
Olive oil spray. This is just what we prefer. All right. So what am I doing here? How am I stretching this? Do I need to get a rolling pin out, or am I
That, or
just
you can
kinda-
even cut it a little bit and then put it back together
What?
to make it a little better shape.
Or just stretch it?
Yeah, stretch it.
So we're just working with this dough. And does it have to be room temperature? It keeps it from
It's a little easier to work with.
tearing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So not room, we took it out, maybe 20 minutes ago?
6 o'clock, so half an hour.
About a half an hour, just to kind of bring it to temperature. Now, if you're really good at making pie crusts, then by all means, I would make
And all you need is a basic pie crust, 3-2-1 pie crust. So
what's a 3-2-1 pie crust?
3-2-1 is 3 parts flour, 2 parts butter or fat, and 1 part water. Pinch of salt.
So your fat could be Crisco?
Could be.
What about coconut oil? Because how the coconut oil, it comes in the tin
then
like a
it-
Crisco?
Then it's a different recipe.
Then it's a different recipe. So 3 parts what?
3-2-1, 3 flour, 2 fat, usually butter, unsalted,
Okay.
and 1 part water, cold water.
Now, the way my mother made her pie crust was she had ice water. That's how cold it was. She would put a couple of ice cubes in a small little dish, fill it with cold water, and then that's the water she would use for her pie crust. And for the life of me, I can't make it. My sister is awesome at making it. Me, not so much. All right. So, do we have anybody watching? Or is it
Rachel's
just
on
us?
from
New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Hey, Rach. We're making a savory quiche with some leftovers. So we grilled some zucchini yesterday, and we've got some leftover ham that we're working with, some cheese, and fresh dill from our garden. I bought this poor, sad little dill plant, and our weather has just been such great weather, as far as we've had quite a bit of rain. The temperatures have been mild, and the thing just took off. Yesterday we made a creamy dill sauce for our chicken and our grilled potatoes. David sliced up some potatoes and made some of those that were really good. So I'm just taking this ready-made pie crust, and I'm just kind of reshaping it, and really it's just going to be like it's not perfect, and it's not even pretty, but And you can even, if you really are, if you're gluten free or you're not using any kind of bread or pie kind of crust product, you can do this without a crust. You just make sure that you grease your pie tin really, really well. What else could you use, David, instead of pie crust? Without it, it'll just cook fine,
You
right?
can use phyllo dough. You can use biscuit dough. You could use pizza crust. You could.
Yeah, but if you're not using
Oh,
those
if you're not
things,
using that stuff,
you just grease it really well, right?
We did the ham cups that one time.
Yeah, we did the ham cups at one time. But if you're, really, really eating clean and really not having any of those kinds of things, just make sure that you're, whether it's your muffin tin or your pie tin, is really
Non-stick.
non-stick. So you would need a lot of vegetable oil, canola oil, olive oil, whatever you're using. Okay, so my hands are kind of slippery here from the pie crust grease. I'm gonna wash them real quick. And then we like to fill our little quiche things. When we're doing the minis, we like to fill the vegetables and the meat and first and the cheeses, and then we'll put the egg mixture in. If you're doing a large quiche in a regular pie plate, I would mix up your egg mixture, which we're going to do here in just a minute, and pour that in the pie crust, and then add your filling, whether it's broccoli, cheese, spinach, mushroom. That way it will disperse evenly throughout the quiche. So I'm just going to cut off this edge here, and I'm just dicing it up. It doesn't have to be pretty, doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to cut it so it's bite size and it heats through evenly, because your ham is already cooked. And again, you could even do, the possibilities with quiche are endless. I'm glad I finally came around to trying quiche. Actually, I might have to give credit to my sister. She made one and I was hooked. We like to do broccoli cheese, my favorite. I think I've done my favorite on here before, which is mushrooms and spinach and shallots and cheese. That's my favorite one. I usually do that with leftover spinach and mushrooms. Not that there's usually ever any left. So since this is has so much water consistency, would you dry this out a little bit? No, because we've grilled it and we've pretty much removed all the moisture. And again, you can
Not
use
all of it, but you remove some. But the rest will be good, and you don't want your vegetables dry in the quiche.
No, for sure. All right. So we've got some zucchini. Easy peasy here. And this is, really a quick and easy thing. These are the pie crusts I usually kind of keep on hand, just specifically for a night like tonight when we don't really have, or you've got a busy day, you forget to take something out of the freezer. You can always throw a quiche together for a meal, and it's delicious and homemade. Okay, that looks about enough, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, am I going to put my dill in now, hon, or would you recommend putting it
You're
in
gonna
on?
want to chop your dill, though, aren't you?
I am going to want to chop my dill. Hold, please.
Use a paper towel.
Okay. So I'm just going to kind of. So there is a trick to this, isn't there?
Against the grain.
Okay. So I'm going to take.
No.
Oh wait, I got to
Peel
go
it
this
back.
way, right?
Yes.
All right. So you're going to take your. And is this true for every single herb?
No.
Every single fresh herb?
Well, a lot of herbs, but it works better with some. Or
Like rosemary,
better
thyme?
than most, yes. Rosemary, thyme, oregano, somewhat.
All I did was grab the top, the very tippy top,
And peel it back.
and peel it back. And I just literally am running my fingers down the stem of the dill, and it releases the fragrances. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. And I'm gonna just rough chop it. And that's for no other reason other than you don't want huge chunks of dill in your bites. Correct, David?
Right, because then it'll get stuck in your teeth.
And get stuck in your teeth. But it also does still release some of the oils and the fragrance, right?
Yes.
The aromatics, is that what it's called? All right. So now, am I putting it in here now?
I would put it with the egg mixture.
Put it with the egg mixture? Okay. So next up is our eggs. So for this many quiche, little mini quiches, how many eggs would you think? 4?
I would say, I did 1 and 1 for 2, so 2 and 2, or 3 and 1.
I never separate them, so I don't know what you did the first for what we have going in the oven.
I did 1 and 1 1 egg
does
and
that
1
mean?
yolk.
1 egg and 1 yolk. All right, so we're gonna do 2 and 2. Is that it?
2 eggs, 1 yolk.
2 eggs, 1 yolk for the
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I committed a crime.
Okay, now the next one you're gonna crack over the sink.
This one I'm gonna crack over the sink.
Get rid of the white.
Because I'm what?
Getting rid of the white.
Getting rid of the white. So if any of y'all have ever had a recipe that calls for just an egg yolk, this is the only way I know how. So if any of you all have a tip on how to,
Flip it back. Oh,
or you could just do that.
Go back and forth, back and forth.
Back and forth, back and forth. All right, let's try this again. I don't know how well this is going to work because this is not a really big shell on this side. And I just broke the yolk.
It's alright, if you break it.
All right.
Okay, now I can use the shell to get out the big shell to get out any pieces of eggshell you have?
Yeah, but I already got it.
Okay.
All right.
Door is on, the mill is on. And you...
Hello, hello, hello. We're doing a savory quiche. Thanks for jumping on.
Okay, so we're going to add the cream, the seasoning, and the dill.
Okay, well, for me personally, I like to, when it comes to scrambling eggs for anything, whether you're putting it in something or you're just scrambling eggs to have as for a meal, I scramble them as soon as I get them out of the shell. Add my seasoning. This is just my personal preference. It seems to come out really well. I'm going to add the heavy cream. And now, when you're doing a quiche, you're going to add a little bit more heavy cream than you would normally add your milk or cream, or some people even put water in their scrambled eggs. But for this recipe, you're going to do a little bit more than you would. It's not a 1-to-1 type of ratio. It's a little bit more. And I would say, and I don't know how much because I'm not measuring. I'm actually turning into my mother, a little of this, a little of that, more like our grandmother.
That looks good.
This is the consistency or the color that you want your egg and your cream mixture to be. Now you're going to add your dill. We happen to like a lot. If you only like a little bit, just put a little bit in, or whatever aromatic you like. Rosemary would do really well in this with maybe some leftover chicken.
Well, you have ham, so rosemary's good with ham.
Yeah, or I just don't happen to have any on here. Oh wait, we do.
We have some in the garden, but
Yep.
come on.
All right. So next time we'll do something with fresh. Not
Could've
that much.
Topped the quiches with cheese.
It's okay.
Overdoing it.
There's no such thing as too much cheese or overdoing it. All right, so because as y'all saw, I did such a great job of separating that yolk from that egg the first time around, I'm gonna do this. You can pour, but it doesn't always work out so well. So I'm just gonna scoop it in. Sorry, I'm trying to do this so everybody can see. And no worries, if you didn't do enough eggs, just mix up a couple more and just spread it out evenly over your little cups. And it's okay if it overflows. All right. The last of it here. Doesn't look like much, I know. And then we're going to take the rest of the cheese. Top it off. And then how long would you say, David, these are going to take to cook?
20 to 25 minutes. It's 375.
Okay. They're going to puff up really nicely. Don't want to waste any of that delicious cheese. Okay. Are we ready to?
Down below.
Oh, okay. The beauty of having two ovens. And through the magic of, what happened there? Something exploded.
Morgan.
Oh, all right. So, 25 minutes later, this is what they come out like. Nice and puffy, poofy. And yes, Deb, for you, we will plate it up. So, while I'm getting ready to get this done, if you are watching us on a replay, if you could drop us a hashtag replay, we would really appreciate it. If you decide to make this recipe or any kind of quiche recipe, or for that matter, any recipe that you've seen us do, please post it. We'd love to, and tag us on it so we can share. This is our passion, so we would love to see what y'all are cooking up. And if you want to get the recipe for this, other recipes, like to join our gut health group, please drop us a message, an emoji, and I'm in. We will gladly add you to our group so that where we share lots of educational stuff about gut health that we've learned on our journey, recipes, inspiration, and support. It's a great group of people. We would love to have y'all join us. So I'm going to attempt to not destroy this. There we go. As I get that out. Perfect. And these do heat up really, really well the next day. So if you make, like I said, have it for lunch the next day. If you make it for breakfast, if you like a little savory in your breakfast, this is for sure really good.
And look, the pan's pretty clean. Easy.
Pan is really clean, easy clean.
Alright.
All right.
Cut one open. See what
Cut one open, see what we're working with. All right. Here we go. I hope y'all are hungry. It smells delicious. So let's go ahead and get this one cut open. And there we go. It's all cooked all the way through. Very delicious. Okay. Thanks for joining us, y'all. We hope to be back next Monday. If not, we will see you the week after. We will let you know. If you've got any suggestions that you'd like us to cook, spring's here. There's lots of grilling going on these days, so let us know. Y'all have a great week, and thanks for tuning in. Bye.